Welcome to the Date Forever podcast. Keep your relationship fueled up with strategies discovered by couples and experts. Because at Fuel Collective, we believe better relationships will equal a better world. You are about to discover specific insights and tools that cost little or nothing to implement to help you date forever. And now, here are your hosts, a couple who always have a half-packed suitcase and a date night in the calendar, Sammy and Nathan Yeager.
Hello and welcome to Date Forever. In this week's episode, we're chatting about burnout and recognizing the signs and how to overcome it, how medical issues can affect your romantic relationship, and shifting your mindset to prioritize your mental and physical well-being. But before we jump into that, Sammy, what's been fueling you up this week?
Oh, we had the nicest date last week.
Yeah? What did we do?
We did the dinner and a movie.
Yeah, it was really nice, wasn't it?
Oh
I can't remember the last time I've been to the movies.
Yeah, the cinema was like a novel experience, like a really whoa.
And you got dressed up, or we both got dressed up.
Did.
Yeah.
We went to go see the House of Gucci movie. Oh my gosh, I loved it so much. I was so into it. And I'm not really like a movie person. I'll binge watch however many TV series, but like I don't know, for whatever reason, I just find it hard to engage in a longer story.
Yeah, even though we can sit there and watch a whole series of
many movies lengths worth of TV series, but so House of Gucci, got dressed up, smuggled in snacks. You cooked dinner. It was just I had a really nice time, and then we had a really great chat after, and pulled it all apart. But it was that just fueled me up. It was a really nice experience, and it was a little bit romantic.
Yeah, it was. It was really nice.
What about you? What fueled you up this past week?
Yeah, that was definitely part of it. I think it was just my whole weekend in general. So we caught up with a couple of friends on Saturday night as well. We hadn't seen for a long time, probably almost 12 months. And then Saturday and a bit of Sunday as well, we actually just had some time where we did nothing, which was
delicious.
Yeah, it was really delicious. I think we've just been so busy
moving, unpacking, relocating.
Yeah, trying to make our house feel like a home. That it was actually just super nice to stop and do nothing for a little bit.
Yeah, that's funny that you say make it feel like a home. For me, I already feel like we're at home, but it's not functioning.
No, that's probably more so what I referred to. But yeah, it definitely feels like we live here and it is our home, but it's just
still super untidy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we'll get there though.
Well, first couple of weeks in January done.
Yeah, but now here's this week's guest.
Today we've got Chris and Filipa Bellette joining us. They are co-founders of Australia-wide virtual health practice Chris and Fili Functional Medicine. They love working with parents and business owners with energy, mood, and gut issues and helping their clients become super healthy, highly productive, and beautifully connected, or what they like to call a power parent. Filipa is an accredited clinical nutritionist and functional medicine practitioner. She is also a PhD scholar, award-winning writer, and regularly published as a guest blogger in the media. Chris is a master NLP practitioner and an accountability and success coach. He has always lived a high-performance life, including competing nationally in several sports. Together, they have worked with over 2,000 burned-out clients over their past combined 20-plus years with their own passions for helping burned-out parents and business owners coming from their own personal experience of burnout after having kids and juggling the building of a business. Welcome to the show, you two.
Thank you. Exciting.
So where do we start? I think we start with your relationship. How on earth did the two of you meet and how did you end up here?
I remember the day.
That's actually a cool story.
I remember the day. Exactly. October 27th, 2007, Nando's.
How was that?
Nando's?
Birthday.
I do. Give me a second.
Okay, all right. So you were in Nando's.
In Nando's, and bit of a backstory, blah, blah, blah. My cousins and friends wanted to introduce me to somebody else. And I only had eyes for this chick from Tassie, Philly. And she was pretty funny. She was smart, and I got along really well. She was head over heels instantly, obviously.
Nah.
No.
Was it love at first sight for you?
No. But it was interest and attraction.
I thought you were
and
funny and
that's-
interesting
I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
and very tall.
I was very tall.
So had you been rolling in the same like friendship circles, or how did this? Was it you?
Yeah, so this was up in Brisbane, and I came from Tassie to Brisbane just for like a few months.
Stayed with a mutual friend.
Stayed with a mutual friend, and then
Yep.
that's how we met through her.
Yeah, and chicken, Nando's. Spicy chicken.
Nando's.
What kind of sauce do you choose?
I don't know if
The
I
hot one?
might-
How chili?
I can go spicy, but I don't know. At Nando's, I don't feel the need for any sauce because it's nice. I like it.
I know we
So-
always go with the medium sauce because I feel like there's some good flavour there without just burning your
Yeah.
face off. So
Yeah, that's it. Flavor, spice and flavor
That's
rather
it.
than just burn your face off.
A very important sidebar. So 2007, right through to 2021. So when you met, was it just on, or was there?
Funny story. October 27th, 2007, Christmas Day that same year, I proposed to Phil.
Oh
We
wow!
got married in February.
We got married 6 weeks later.
I love all of this.
Boom.
So maybe it was love at first sight.
But yeah.
We had a bit of pressure on. She was moving down to Sydney to start her PhD, and I said, well, we either get married after or before. And we had 6 weeks. So
We're like, let's just get married.
let's get married. So we got married. And
Which is really unlike me. I'm a very cautious, slow person. You're probably a bit more spontaneous.
oh no, that was a
and
very Chris thing.
Yeah.
to happen.
He bullied me into it.
It did not.
So hold on, you've been dating for like 8 weeks, and you were down on
Yes.
one knee.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love this so much. Tell us about those dates in that 8 weeks. They must have been amazing.
Fire. Yeah.
It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
So the very first one, I think I took Phil to a movie.
Yes.
We did the typical movie, have cheap steak.
Steak and
And
chips.
she's like, this is awesome. What, the steak is awesome? No, it's so cheap.
Bargain hunter.
Yeah.
Amazing. So I'm like, that was a win column right there. Like she likes.
Which is funny because now I buy $15 loaves of bread.
That's evolution.
That's from all the money you saved during your dating phase. You've been able to spend on bread
Exactly.
now.
100%.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that was the first date. And then the
Costume. I think it was Halloween.
second date was, hey, Phil, do you want to come help me pick out a fancy dress costume?
Actually, no, that was not a proper date. That was the first
I'm
time
counting that.
after Nando's that you're like, hey, I need help finding a costume for the Halloween party.
That was an intentional date.
You were duped. So did your friends, did your family think you were insane at that time?
My mum and dad, I don't think thought
I
I
think
was
your
insane.
mum was excited that you're like, yes,
He's
she's finally
going to get married.
This
finally
girl.
found someone nice. My parents were worried
Yeah, they're
because
like,
they
what
were
the
all
heck?
the way down in Tassie and they hadn't met Chris, and we ended up going down to Tasmania before we got married. Just to say, hey, meet my fiance. But yeah.
I'd called Tom, Phil's dad, on Christmas morning before I proposed. I'm like, hey, so I'm going to propose to Philly.
Like, hey, I'm
you
Chris.
okay?
Nice to meet you.
And
What did he say? My dad's very dry, so lovely, big heart, but he's quite.
he was excited. And then he called
he?
me back. He's just like, so is there anything you want to tell me? Like, is there anything? And I'm like, no.
Oh,
there's
he
nothing
thought you were
bad.
pregnant.
She's not pregnant. Everything's all good.
Really?
I haven't told you that.
Mum probably got him. Call him back.
Calling back.
Calling
Did you ask?
Do the logistics. Yeah. No, that was, so that was cool. And then we went up to Mount Cootha, got engaged in front of 2 old ladies.
Who clapped?
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, nice.
Looking
Well
back,
done.
it was kind of funny. It was all a bit
Well
cheesy.
So good. Which was where we went for our first date, when we first met, after Nando's.
How many big conversations had you had in that 8 weeks? Like about the future and money and religion and politics and science, and like how many of those had you tackled?
I would say big.
I think
I'd
we
say a lot.
went into
Yeah.
everything you just said there.
Yeah.
Good point. I
And,
think that was
yeah.
good topics of conversation.
And I'd had, I don't know, I don't think my ex-boyfriends will listen to this, but I'd had some not great relationships in the past. You know, it's like, oh, didn't treat me very nice. And there wasn't that like deep connection. So I felt like when we could have those conversations, I'm like, I actually really love this man. He cares for me.
He's so funny and attractive.
So yeah, I think we talked about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think so as well. Plus, she saw me in like, we did karaoke, we did fancy dress. Like, it was like, we did weird things that really got on. What am I trying to say? We saw lots of angles that you usually I never really went down that path with another girl before.
Yeah, okay. So in Nando's, when we first met, you always say this, but this is so stupid. I was eating my food and I like showed him the food in my mouth. I don't know why. It's really like an awkward, weird thing. Like I feel a bit embarrassed, but
this girl is for me.
I do feel like that's so, because you always felt like other girls were putting their guard on with you. And
yeah. And I'm what you see is what you get. Like, yeah, I don't hold back.
So from there, married very soon after dating and meeting, you've then gone on to create this incredible business together. Like, tell us a little bit about how that came about and why that journey started.
Cool.
Yeah.
So this has been in the making for a long time. It's kind of like the weavings together of both of our paths.
Yeah.
Do you want to maybe tell about your story with functional medicine? Because that really is
Well, probably after, like when we moved to Sydney, Chris started a personal training business. So that was kind of like the first, I guess, business in health. And I was studying my PhD at the time in creative writing, something completely different. I loved it. It was amazing. But I also felt like I hadn't really found my calling. I was lecturing and tutoring and stuff at university too. And then I loved your business. I always did like the behind the scenes things, like the bookkeeping and phone calls and all that sort of stuff. But you were a lot more into the health side of things than me. And it wasn't until we had our daughter, which was in 2012.
Yeah.
And I had a really horrific birth. It was like 3 days long, lots of tearing. And my bladder stopped working. And for 3 or 4 months after we had Poppy, I had to have an internal catheter up my wee hole because I had no sensation to wee. And so I was on a lot of antibiotics. I was in and out of hospital with UTIs and all sorts of stuff. And Poppy was crying all the time and I was depressed. And that's when my health journey into functional medicine and nutrition started. Because, well, it probably started a year after that when every month I was getting more sick and more burnt out and more issues and health issues and mental health issues started popping up to the point where Poppy turned 1 and I'm like, if I don't do something now, we are going to break up and I'm also going to like absolutely lose the plot and probably also damage my child.
Yeah.
That sounds so intense, Billy.
Yeah.
So my heart broke. The birthing was it was pretty horrific, that process.
3 days is 3 days too many.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't intense labor for the whole 3 days, but it was enough that I couldn't sleep for 2 nights. And the doctor or the midwife is like, take Panadol, take some sleeping tablets because you're going to need it for when you have to like actually deliver the baby. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do it all natural. And so then I was just exhausted by the time I actually had to properly give birth to the baby.
Which then brought on a whole, knowing what I know now as a life coach. So the guilt and the shame that you had, you went in there expecting that you'll have this beautiful experience, read all the books, you've done all the things that you were meant to do, and it didn't meet your expectations, which then therefore didn't make you very happy and was brutal. And so then you had a whole bunch of guilt and shame. Oh man, I've done this, I've put this stuff into my body, and you felt like pretty low emotionally as well.
Yeah.
And physically.
Ended up having all the drugs.
All the drugs.
Gas.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting thing that you just touched on there, Chris, like mostly out of that, like when something doesn't meet your expectations, when you had an idea of how something was going to go or be, and then it's not that, like that gap can be so confronting. But I'd love to know, in terms of your relationship, what did the two of you learn out of that period of time?
So Dragged? Well, no, initially I learned that Chris is an amazing father. Like he was mum and dad because I physically and mentally was not coping. Like I got to the point where I'm like, I don't like this child. Actually, I hate her. I don't want her anymore.
Yeah.
And so
Can we return her?
Yeah.
Can I get a refund?
Which made I have an amazing relationship with our oldest Poppy. I'm super close, and like I just felt like a little buzz of emotion just then. I will always be so close to her, and that started minutes after the birth, I reckon.
Yeah. And so first of all, it was like, I have also married a man who is amazing and a great father. But I would say like that, so then we had our second baby 3 years later, and then all my health issues started again.
I can't believe you went back.
I had so much trauma and it was hard. So I feel like from the moment Poppy was born to maybe like 4 years later, things were not very good in our relationship.
It was pretty...
Like it was very much like it wasn't like we weren't yelling at each other and fighting like that, but it was cold and frigid, and I don't even think we had sex very much.
No, maybe not.
Because I was just like so burnt out and no libido and all that sort of stuff. And then that drove Chris as well to like working from 5 a.m. till 10 p.m. Like he didn't want to come home at night. Actually, you didn't tell me this initially, but maybe like a few years later or a few months, I'm like, why are you never home for dinner? And I'm here looking after the kids. And he's like, I don't want to come home.
Wow. I can't remember saying that. That's crazy.
So that was really hard. And I think it got to a point where like we literally were on the brink of, if things don't change, we would break up.
Yeah.
And
fork in the road moments.
Yeah.
Massive. Yeah.
And for me too, as a mom, because I was mentally unhinged, I was angry all the time and screaming at the kids. And, you know, it was also that relationship with my kids that I'm going to psychologically damage them if I don't change and do something about this and get my body healed and better.
That all corresponded with my sporting athletic breakdown and retirement.
Well, I would actually
dragging onness.
So it drove. So then during this time of having children, we moved back to Tassie, and Chris opened a gym. So that's where he was at the gym from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Yeah.
But also, that's when you became super obsessed with strongman and competitions and testosterone. And it was probably because he wasn't getting anything at home. Actually, I think you said that. It's like, it's my release.
Yeah. I did enjoy it, and I became this identity of this guy who could lift things and do stuff and pull trucks and lift stones and all that sort of stuff. And I was good at it. I did really well. Won medals, went in national competitions. I started Strongman Tasmania, which was really cool.
But all from a place of avoidance.
Very, very much.
Yeah. And Chris actually said something the other day. There was a powerlifting competition locally or something.
Oh, yeah.
And usually he would be like, frothing at the mouth to go. And like, I really want to go, even though his body's broken. But he's like, I had no desire or even like need or want to go there.
I didn't have this. Like, I just saw the pictures. I was excited for the people that competed, and I enjoyed looking at them for them. Like, I had this really out of myself, no Chris thing about what I saw, and I was excited for them, but I had no attachment to it at all, which was weird. I thought, oh, that's a weird thing to feel. I have no connection to that at all.
I'm just speculating. Like, I'm just wondering if that's kind of like a healing thing as well. But I would say like what we learned out of it, like I guess that fork in the road time, was I went on my own journey with nutrition and functional medicine and doing poo and spit and like spit testing and trying to clear the pathogens from my gut and heal my brain and all that sort of stuff. And I was doing that for maybe like a year. And then Chris, that's when you also got into mindset coaching. And I feel like that was
that was the changer for me.
Or you got coached by a mindset coach and a life coach type person. And so then so we both kind of went on our own healing journeys separately, But then we've kind of now brought everything that we have gone through, all our struggles, we call our mess is our message. And so now, so that's why we have Chris and Philly Functional Medicine now, because we both had different skill sets, but also we've had these different journeys and now we're coming together to help other people.
Yeah.
So it sounds like at that time you had lots of things going on. You had businesses, you had like health issues, you had the 2 kids as well. So how did you kind of come to making that decision of that you need to be focusing on yourself to really be healing yourself mentally and physically, like at that time?
It was a choice, really. Something that I always say to people, it's like, you don't have to do anything. You don't have, bear with me, you don't even have to feed your kids. Like your existence on the planet isn't going to see, like no one's holding a gun to your head, right? Feed your children. It's a choice that you make. I think it's a good choice that everyone feed your kids. But what I'm getting at is you don't have to do anything, right? And so it came down to a decision. What do you want? Do we, in this moment, do we break up? Do we have a breakup of our relationship to go along with our broken bodies, or do we do something about it? And it's like that line in the sand. It's like, okay, this is our moment. This is a choice that we have to make. And we didn't want to break up. We didn't want to be broken down or burnt out anymore. So it's all about that from that point on. All right, what do we do about it? Let's change here.
Yeah. And a big thing that was out of kilter too was the whole work-life balance.
Yes,
so that was
5 a.m. to 10 p.m. It's not sustainable.
Zero sustain.
So I'm curious, did you actually have a conversation, or was there a straw breaking the camel's back moment where you, at that fork in the road, where you had to make a decision together to commit or recommit? Or did it just happen organically that you both went about fixing your shit?
Oh, there was lots of conversations. They were usually high in decibels, and and I think Philly hit me once. So I'm 6'7" and 120 kilos.
And you were lifting cars.
Philly's
I gave you a blood note.
Philly's 5 foot, if that, and she punched me.
Philly, we should
ever done
say
that once.
violence against anyone is not the way.
Yeah. and so that's that's exactly right. But that were like, there was some moments like this where we were just like, we got to do something about this.
Yeah.
And we did lots of changes, little changes, big changes.
Yeah.
All the changes.
So while you're both going through these like quite physical body experiences of birth trauma and probably overtraining trauma, how was that, like the physical element, showing up in your relationship?
Well, so
In terms of physical symptoms?
Yeah,
Or-
like were you able to maintain any level of affection or kindness or like physical presence with one another
Hit him
while
in
you
the
were
face. I think that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
That was when I big time struggled with anxiety after the second baby. I used to call myself in my head the dragon mom, the dragon wife. So you felt like you were walking on eggshells around me, for sure.
Yeah. Intimacy was low.
Yeah. I mean, I just didn't want to have sex at all. I was so exhausted, and my immune system, like I was always sick with something. I had a lot of back issues as well and hip issues.
Yeah.
So that kind of like
It was painful. And so like a experience, correct me if I'm wrong, but you've got physical pains and emotional pains and scarring that are in your body anyway. And then you've got this relationship. And we're having sex, and being intimate is also painful. Like
and then I'm like, why would I want to when you come home at 10?
Yeah.
Don't even
When you're already
talk to me or
tired,
wake up
already
for that.
exhausted.
Yeah.
So it was very emotional too, but I really feel like it was driven from physical imbalances for me, which then just, mentally and emotionally, spiritually, even really affected our relationship, our intimacy. Yeah.
So then you both went away and you did your respective work, and then you've come back together and built what now seems to be a really incredible, beautiful relationship and business. So tell us a little bit about what are some of the things that you help your clients with?
Yeah.
Burnout, breakdown, where their body is
Sick and tired.
Some things that our clients, our potential clients, people that come to us, some of the things that they say, I can't function. I'm so sore. We work with business owners, right? So intelligent, smart, go-getters, and they know how to Google and YouTube things. But at the same time, they're running out of time and their body's broken and their relationship is on the rocks. And we can save them time by showing them the shortcuts to reversing all that and
Healing
their body,
Yeah.
getting more energy, more capacity, being more productive,
Yeah.
helping them have, because of that productivity and capacity and energy, they can have better relationships, more connection, show up present to their family.
Yeah.
One of the biggest lessons that I've had around this sort of stuff is from a coach, a guy named Jamin Fraser, who's the insecurity coach. And he talks about this concept of like, don't manage your time, manage your energy. And that if you really just went and go, I've got 30 minutes now, do I allocate that to a task or do I allocate that to improving my energy and my state so that I can smash out the rest of the day in the way that I want to or I need to? And how influential even just that little mindset shift of your time being deployed to influence your energy. And it's been really impactful for me to make that a priority. So we've heard you talk about like the 6 power principles that you need to master to become more connected to yourself, your partner, your kids, and your professional sense and your purpose. So maybe run us through those 6.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay. So they are
Body is first.
body, healing the body. But in order to heal the body, you've got to get to the root cause of why the body's burnt out in the first place. And that comes back to the other principles. So thoughts and feelings, behavior, environment, lifestyle, and relationships. And they all interconnect with each other. So that's where a lot of people take medication or they take natural supplements or they might do a diet, but they don't ever fully, some people don't get better at all, but they don't ever fully overcome their burnout because they're not addressing those other principles that almost always there's something going on in those other principles that are causing that burnout in the first place.
Yeah.
So how do you then use those tools to kind of dive deeper into what is actually going on? And how do you kind of discover which are the key factors that are contributing to your burnout?
We use a test, don't guess philosophy. So sometimes if you jump onto Dr. Google or XYZ forum, right, you can find heaps of information, heaps of success stories. And sometimes it's more of a overlearning, oversharing kind of experience. And so people share their journey with people. And so people latch onto these success stories. And so what we do is we want to be able to get to the root cause. We want to find out the real answer. So we want to test. We use functional medicine lab testings and a consultation process to really find out what's going on in the body and in your life as well that might be contributing to your health symptoms, giving you those things. Is there something that needs to be kick-started inside of you? Is there something that needs to be even killed off? And so we don't know. And so we want to find out. And so that's where we start.
It's actually really easy to find out what's wrong inside the body because you just use the lab tests. All the other things, it's a lot of investigatory work, a lot of questionnaires, a lot of introspection for the clients as well to then help us gather all the information so we can say, okay, so we think, or we can see that there's imbalances in these areas. Sometimes it's like repetitive negative thought patterns or, I mean, a lot of stuff comes back to what people do too, like how are you fueling your body with food? Are you moving too much or too little? What's your sleep like? But then it's kind of like peeling back those onion layers of, okay, well, why are you addicted to sugar? Is it because you have a yeast overgrowth in your gut? Or is it because something happened in your childhood and you lacked, I don't know, you lacked in your childhood and now you're trying to make up by eating all the sugar. So there's lots of stuff. Environment's kind of easy, I feel, to detect too, because that's looking at people's like toxins and mold and dirty electricity that can cause people to feel burnt out. Yeah, it's more the thoughts and feelings part, I think, is the big rabbit hole. And it's where a lot of people don't know or are not aware that that's often the root cause of the burnout until we start helping them see that.
Yeah. I think about it like, connect the dots pictures. Our girls like connect the dot drawings, those ones. And sometimes I'll find one on Pinterest that's got like 1,000. No, maybe not that many, like hundreds of dots. I'm like, yeah, this will get them. This will keep them out for a while. This is a good 15, 20-minute one. And so when you print it out, it just looks like it looks like a mess. You can't tell what's going on, but they're dots on a page. And so what we like to do is we like to get all the information from our clients' lifestyle and health symptoms, and we think about all the causes and contributing factors, and we think of them like dots on a page. And at first, it can be confusing to some people, but we get all these dots and we connect the dots so we've got a big picture of their overall health. And from there, once we've got this big picture, we can then confirm any sort of imbalances that might be going on in lifestyle or in their physiology. We confirm those imbalances with functional medicine lab testing, and we can get a real clear diagnosis. And it's from that foundation of knowledge holistically that we base our treatment protocols, mental, emotional, body, mind, environment, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I've experienced burnout once in my life and it wasn't good. And I don't think I knew that it was occurring. And I think the external environments in things like work, and I said yes to a lot of things that weren't serving me and no to a lot of things that would have been serving me. So I was saying no to social interactions, no to exercise, no to proper nutrition, all that sort of stuff. And I was saying yes to doing more work and showing up more and more commitments and more responsibilities. And a lot of that was serving me in the sense of my career progression and my sense of significance, and that it made me feel really important and I was achieving all of these things. But as soon as I stopped, I really did fall like a deck of cards. And it was, I didn't see the burnout while I was in it. I was like in the middle of the cyclone, and someone said to me, I think it was a naturopath, had said, when people are experiencing burnout, people often say like, oh, you just need to take a break. You just need to take a holiday. You just need to take a week off or whatever it was. But that approach is a bit like parking a car in a garage when it's run out of fuel. Like leaving it in the garage for a week doesn't fix the fact that it's got no fuel in the tank.
I like that.
Yeah. So for me, it took the better part of a year, I reckon, to undo all of the things and start to look at the things that you just talked about in terms of that, what was going on in my brain for a lot of it. And especially because in my instance, what I'd experienced had so deeply connected to my sense of self that when I stopped doing that work and that role and those responsibilities, I really didn't know who I was anymore. Yeah. So I really love that you are helping people move through some of these things, because I think it is a bit misunderstood. And I think we sometimes throw the term burnout around a little bit, like, oh, working 40 hours or 50 hours or whatever it is. And like, oh, I'm so burnt out. For me, I was like, I was sick, like sick person, not like, oh, a little bit tired and a little bit past capacity. I was in the red zone or critical zone. So what I would love to know is, from all of your work, your relationship, your experience, what is it that the two of you do now to prevent that level of burnout, but also to keep your relationship fueled up?
I love that. Choices, right? So Sammy, you chose your life at that point. Hey, you made those choices. At some level, you said, I want to do this. I want to, for whatever reasons, whether it be connection or significance or any of those things that you said, right? So you made those choices. Boom. Yeah. So those choices snowball into a lifestyle, and the attachment of consequences to our lifestyles can sometimes have a physiological effect. And so to prevent those physiological burnout things, it's, I think, bringing people to an awareness that they're choosing these things. They're choosing things that might not be serving them. They're
asking
choosing
about us, though.
Yeah.
Not others.
Oh, yeah.
But what you see in your clients is still...
So I would say too, like along with what Chris just said, COVID-19 was a blessing, a huge blessing for our potential burnout, to prevent burnout, and our family and our relationship. So Chris closed down his gym. And he's like, what do I want to do with my life? I don't want to keep getting up at 5 a.m. in the morning training people when I feel broken and I'm tired and I'm not seeing my family. And so we made a massive, or you especially made a massive change in career.
Yeah.
And now Daddy's home all the time, which is really nice. It's awesome. Now, I mean, we still love our work. We still work hard. So it's not like all like, hey, let's go to the beach. It's in the middle of the day. But, now you can come and you can have dinner with us because it's just like in a couple of rooms next door. So we've made huge lifestyle shifts, I think. I would say too, over the years of knowing each other, and probably more so with the work that Chris has done, is that we understand our personalities better. And so we're apparently complete opposites in all the personality tests. Like, no wonder we were like at the brink of breakup because we didn't understand each other.
Extroverted, introverted.
You guys heard of Gretchen Rubin?
Oh, no, not Gretchen Rubin.
Gretchen Rubin.
Amazing.
So she has a personality test. So there's rebels, obligers, questioners, and upholders.
Yeah.
Chris is a rebel. I'm 100%. An upholder. So he likes doing.
Does that mean that you like the rules, Philly? You like to keep order?
Yeah.
I think that's Nathan.
That's me.
Even as you said it, I was like, I bet I know which one
Sammy's
you are.
definitely the rebel.
Yeah. I do a U-turn where you're not meant to, and
exactly.
Push all the boundaries. Yeah.
Awesome.
And so I feel like even before kids too, I feel like we fought a lot, even though we had a lot of like great times as well. Yeah. There was just over the small, simple stuff of like, why did you not put the bin out when I asked you to? And it was a massive revelation when I'm like, I can't tell Chris what to do because his personality, what's the word, like repels against that. And then also him understanding me that I actually do like routine and I do like systems and I do like to keep the rules. And so I feel like now we gel better in work and business and also like in our family relationship as well.
That's a massive part of preventing and healing burnout too, is really understanding your personality of the self of yourself and also of your partner as well. I think that's really understanding what makes them tick. Ideally, because most of your listeners are going to be not married and not in our exact
maybe considering marriage.
Yeah.
In that 6-week period.
Everyone should do it.
Maybe 8 weeks from now.
Yeah.
So something to consider is maybe doing some personality tests together and quizzes and really getting to know, having some good conversations on a personality level, just nutting things out, how you would do and operate in certain situations. I wish we did that earlier. That would have been really interesting as well.
Even from like a business owner level, Chris was running off in his own direction. I was running off doing my own stuff. We both kind of had the same end goal, but he was doing stuff that was sapping his soul. I was doing stuff that was sapping my soul until we realized, hang on, my strength is your weakness and your strength is my weakness. Let's like actually be on the same page and delegate what we love.
Leverage each other's strengths and weaknesses. Yeah, based on your personality. Yeah. That's something that we've definitely looked into as well. And
especially like the last 18 months or so running the podcast and building Fuel Collective together. Like it's become more apparent than it ever before that I've got all of the activation energy. I can get stuff started. I've probably got too many things started and I have no follow through, like very little follow through. But Nath can't get shit started, but absolutely will take it home, will finish it. Like the person who likes to tick things off of the to-do list just because they're there, like got to get it done, even if the priority maybe has changed, but like finisher. And I admire that and I'm so grateful.
Awesome. I noticed that book on your shelf behind you, Traction. That
book changed my life.
Visionary integrator. That knowing about visionaries and integrators is like I think we've both got a lot of visionary tendencies, but Philly is 100% the integrator in our relationship and business. She GSDs. That's
pulls it all together. Yeah.
Takes ideas and turns them into real things.
Yeah. She's our alchemist.
I bring you back to earth.
Yeah. I've got what's that? I've got 99 ideas and we'll just take one.
And yeah, 20 before breakfast. I like that.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us, you two. This has been really great chat. Thank you for letting us have a little peek behind the extraordinary roller coaster that was the beginning of your relationship, but then also the maybe your not brightest days and how you've turned it around and ended up to be here with the business and looking very lovingly at each other. To say thank you, we've given 100 days of medication to nursery school children in Ethiopia. This has been made possible by our partnership with Buy One, Give One, and we really believe about being the change and doing what you were saying, Chris, and being aware of your choices. But we also really want to be the change that we want to see in the world. So thank you so much for making that possible.
Legend.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Worries. So Chris and Philly, if people want to connect with you or learn a little bit more about what you do, how should they do that?
Website. Jump to our website, which is www.chrisandphilly.fm. Philly is with an F.
Yeah. We've got a few things that people can download or register for. Ending Burnout web class is probably our big one. We've also got a free mini course all about burnout. Lots of blog posts. Yeah.
And if you're not sure if we can help you or if we're a good fit, we talk a lot about parents and business owners, but maybe that doesn't describe you perfectly. How about jumping onto a discovery call where we can just find out if we're a good fit for your unique needs?
That's really generous. Thank you so much.
Sounds amazing.
No worries.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Our pleasure.
It was so good. Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks heaps for joining us. If you love what we're doing here and want more, subscribe to the Date Forever podcast to make sure you never miss an ep. Come and hang out with us and other awesome couples who are fueling up their relationships in the Thriving Couples Collective Facebook group, or check us out at fuelcollective.com.au. Until next time, keep on dating, because better relationships equal a better world.